Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about one of the things that does myth me out here in the health and fitness world, and that's when people start telling other people that dairy is unhealthy, that they're not supposed to be consuming dairy, and it's really doing a disservice to people. So let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing, work on skilling up my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. And this honestly comes from misguided people, usually like vegans or people who follow weird variations of paleo diets. They start in with this without really looking at the unbiased research. And it's like, I'm going to link a review down below about the overall health effects of dairy. And, it's kind of like when I put out that big review that was done that found that the lowest risks of cardiovascular disease were found among people who eat the most fruits, vegetables, nuts, meat, and dairy, right? That's what was found. It was those sum total foods together that's what your diet was comprised mostly of. You had the lowest rates of heart attack, stroke, all that stuff around the world. And that, of course, myth people like, how could you include that there? Because that's just what the data shows. And they're like, well, that's biased. But then when we do these big reviews, they'll scream, well, that's biased by the dairy industry. And it's like, you're telling me that when studies are put together coming out of China, coming out of Norway, coming out of Sweden, that places like that, you're telling me that that is the American dairy industry? You have to be kidding me. You have to be kidding me. And I'm sorry, but the data just isn't there to support this, because a lot of countries that consume very large amounts of dairies do not have the health problems. They don't have the obesity problems. They don't have the diabetes problems, everything else that we have in the West. It's not the dairy that's causing it. It really isn't. And the sheer stupidity of that, when people are not even willing to look at the data and they start screaming that foods are unhealthy, when it's pretty obvious what's killing us here in America. How about our double bacon cheeseburgers, right? All these processed meats on processed grains washed down with a Coca-Cola full of high fructose corn syrup and French fries, which are, again, potatoes fried in oil, right? It's pretty obvious that that's what's causing our problems, but no, it can't. People will jump over into the left field and say things like, "Oh, it must be the dairy causing it. It must be a fruit causing it," right? It's always something like that. It must be the oats that you're eating that are causing it. It must be the potatoes, without looking at, okay, guys, it's all this highly refined processed garbage, and you know what? That includes nut milks. How about let's talk about a refined processed garbage. It has all the nutrients stripped of it. How about almond milk? How about soy milk? All that garbage. When you go look at the reviews and you look at this stuff, those aren't as healthy as milk. They don't have the health benefits of milk. But this is the silliness that the whole hippie and vegan movement will push onto you. When you really go look at the health effects of dairy around the world, dairy's a beneficial food source. It really is. And I don't care what your ethical views are on it. Okay, you can have your ethical views. You can have your ethical stance, and that's fine. But you don't need to equate your ethical stance with the actual health effects. Because I'm sorry, but if you have people who are consuming real dairy from cows versus your almond milk, and that's the only difference you see in them, I can assure you, if you look at the data, you're better off doing the dairy than you are those things. When you start, again, looking at the data, the health benefits of this, all these refined almond milk and stuff, is not there. But when we start looking at dairy, what is it that we find? We find that children who consume the most dairy have the lowest childhood obesity rates. They have the lowest childhood obesity rates. That's in your group that has the lowest. When we start looking at different body composition studies, dairy gives favorable body composition, and it's largely believed it's the combination of the really high quality protein, right? And I don't want to hear this one, there can be protein in whatever this. Okay, we're talking about highly bioavailable, high amino acid scoring, highly absorbable protein, right? Dairy is among the best. Dairy proteins are generally gram for gram superior in terms of their total utilization and absorption. They're, again, intended to grow baby cows or baby humans or whatever. Well, that affects your muscle tissue quite well. Affects it quite well. And it seems to be the combination of the electrolytes that's with it. It's got what plants crave. But it's all the calcium, magnesium, all the potassium, things like that are mixed with it. It seems to be very favorable for performance, very favorable for body composition. And some of it seems to help with appetite control, blood sugar stability, all these other things that are going on. It's generally found that people who add dairy into a weight loss regimen tend to lose body fat slightly better. It's been looked at in multiple studies over the years, and it seems to be more pronounced in women than in men. And then they've always thought maybe the calcium combined with a protein played a role. That's what researchers have said over the years. But that's what we're looking at. And then you'll have silly people say, well, without vitamin D, it's not really absorbable. That's right. That's why in more northern countries around the world, the further away you are from the equator, why there tends to be more dairy absorption historically with better health, and it's because lighter skinned people in darker environments have more vitamin D3, right? And therefore it makes these things more readily absorbable. And that's a big argument against it, but that's gone away with modern technology, guys. This is 2018, about to be 2019. Vitamin D3 is added to almost all dairy in Western countries. Therefore, that concern that skin pigment versus sunlight kind of goes away with consuming the dairy. You can absorb the calcium and magnesium and everything because we add vitamin D3 to it. Now, if you're a really light-skinned person, that actually isn't even as big of a deal. But when you're dealing with that, it's been fixed with modern technology. It's been fixed with modern food innovation. It is not a problem anymore. That big argument right there completely goes away in the modern age, and this has been addressed for generations. We've known this for a very, very long time. That's why vitamin D3 is added to dairy. Yes, it facilitates the correct absorption of the calcium and magnesium and the other things in there. This problem is non-existent unless you're going and doing raw milk yourself. You're not adding any D3. But again, it improves body composition. It improves performance. You start looking at things like diabetes, people who consume more dairy actually have slightly lower rates of diabetes. They have lower rates of diabetes. Arguably, lower rates of cardiovascular disease. This food is not killing people. Then we come to the cancer thing, and I've done whole videos looking at all the meta-analysis of cancer correlations with different forms of dairy. Some forms of dairy have been found to lower cancer rates. Most of them don't seem to have an effect at all, other than we come over to the obesity and body composition, which does affect it. But the only form of dairy that has any correlation with a cancer that has been found was in prostate cancer in men and whole milk. Whole milk specifically. Not skim milk, not yogurt, not cheese, whole milk. Whole milk. Men who consume very large amounts of whole milk seem to have the slightly higher rates of prostate cancer. But we're not talking about something like 10% of men who drink a large amount of whole milk get prostate cancer. It literally was like a 0.5% increase. But that is the only cancer form that's been associated with it, whereas in multiple types have shown lower, and particularly yogurts, and things like breast cancer, uterus cancer, ovarian cancer, all of that stuff was quite a bit lower in women who consumed the most yogurt. So people want to stand here and they want to talk about this like this is a bad food. They don't have evidence. The only one that's we could also argue is the osteoporosis. That's the one we always say drink milk for healthy bones. What they found, the data has been mixed. No, there is no correlation between consuming dairy and higher rates of bone fracture or osteoporosis. That is not true. It's been found that it seems to be neutral, that most of the studies aren't finding that it particularly helps with bones, right? That's not what they're finding. But they're also finding that they're not showing a negative effect either. So all these silly people, these hippies and vegans who are like, oh, it destroys your bones. It's not based on reality. That's not what the scientific literature shows. But what we do show is that more protein in general, higher protein diets are protective against osteoporosis and osteoarthritis. So again, we're coming back to this other point, the high quality protein. Yet, what do we have? We have people telling people that they need to avoid dairy. Out of all the things, when we start looking at the health of this is absurd. Now, here's the other problem we come to. People will say, well, what about people who are lactose intolerant? Well, are you lactose intolerant? Is this self-reported or medical diagnosed? There'll be like certain demographics of people have higher rates of it. That's true. That is true. However, there are tons of lactose-free or low-lactose dairy. In other words, you can get the health effects of dairy without drinking straight-up milk. In other words, all of these health effects that we talk about are found in yogurts, kefir, things like that. What about certain low-lactose cheeses? So if you are among those demographics who do have the higher rates of it and you do seem to suffer from it, and I'm going to tell you how. Drink a glass of milk, and if you get diarrhea or really bad gas, or you get stomach cramping, you're probably lactose intolerant, right? Go do it consistently on different days. And if that's the only thing that changes and that's what causes it, you probably do. But you know what? Yogurt, Greek yogurt. How about kefir? That stuff's great. You can get it at almost any grocery store in America. Any of those things, all three of those things are available. Go look at the lactose content of cheese. You can still consume certain cheeses. You can get all these other benefits of dairy while being lactose intolerant, and this has been known for hundreds, if not thousands of years. We've learned how to culture dairy, and then what are the other benefits? These cultured dairies and fermented dairy have all sorts of other health benefits that we found, including, gut health. And we know that gut health affects everything from metabolism to your immune system, all of these things. So we're over here arguing about the dairy, and then people want to talk about the lactose intolerance when we have forms of dairy that are out there that are superior and have other health benefits beyond the normal dairy benefits. Been known for many, many years to the point to where doctors will prescribe them to you, tell you to go consume these when you're on antibiotics, right, to help with your gut health, that the antibiotics kill off the good flora in your GI tract. So people could be getting all of these health benefits we're talking about, plus the stuff of the live cultures and the cultured dairy, by ignoring these morons. In fact, I'll say Greek yogurt is a top food. I consume Greek yogurt all the time. I mean, if you're worried about overall health, there you go. Greek yogurt, fantastic health food. Get it with live cultures. Even if you're lactose intolerant, you'll be just fine. It doesn't bother you at all. You get all the health benefits of dairy, the high quality protein, all these other things, combined with what? Live cultures that'll help your immune system, help your digestion. I mean, that's pretty much a superfood, if we want to throw that silly term around there. So you really got to wonder what the motive is of these silly ass hippies and these vegans who are telling people not to consume dairy. I know what the vegans' motive is. It's not your health. It's their concern because they dislike the dairy industry and they think it's evil and they think it's wrong and they equate it with rape and murder and everything else. That's their viewpoint. But from a health perspective, they are lying. And they damn well know that they are. They know that they're lying. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.